Understanding the terms Dhamma and Sankhara. A. All things and all formations. In the first and second statements of the three characteristics, the Buddha states that all conditioned phenomena, Sankhara, are impermanent and dukkha, respectively, but in the third statement he says that all things, Dhamma, are non-self. This indicates a distinction between the first two characteristics and the third characteristic. To understand this distinction, one must examine the words Sankhara and Dhamma. The Pali word Dhamma has an all-encompassing range of meaning, covering all things, everything that exists, past, present and future, both real and imaginary, material and mental, good and bad, and ordinary and exceptional things are all included within the meaning of this word. In Pali, when a restricted or more specific definition is desired, a modifier may be added to the word Dhamma, or the object to be defined is divided into subcategories. Alternatively, the word Dhamma can be used unmodified within a specific context. For example, paired with a Dhamma or used to describe moral behavior, it means merit, punya, or goodness. When it is used with atta, it means rule, principle, or cause. When Dhamma is used in relation to study, it means the scriptures, the Buddha's discourses. In the third statement of the three characteristics pertaining to non-self, the Buddha uses the term Dhamma in its broadest sense, referring to all things without exception. To understand Dhamma in this context, it is helpful to divide things into categories. Material things, Rupadhamma, and immaterial things, Namadhamma, mundane things, Lokiya Dhamma, and transcendent things, Lokuttara Dhamma, conditioned things, Sankhata Dhamma, and unconditioned, Asankhata Dhamma, wholesome things, Kusala Dhamma, unwholesome things, Akusala Dhamma, and neutral things, Abhaya Kata Dhamma. Each group above incorporates the entire meaning of Dhamma, but the group that corresponds with the subject to be studied here is that of conditioned things and unconditioned things. All things can be divided into two types. 1. Sankhata Dhamma, constructed things, things that arise from conditioning, factors, paccaya, things formed by the merging of such factors. These things are also called Sankhara, which has the same root and translation. Both Sankhata Dhamma and Sankhara refer to every kind of condition, material and mental, mundane and supramundane, except Nibbana. 2. Asankhata Dhamma, that which is not constructed, the state that does not arise by being fashioned from conditioning factors, and is not subject to them. It is also called Visankhara, meaning the state free from conditioned phenomena, the unconditioned, that is Nibbana. Sankhara is therefore just one aspect of the term Dhamma. Dhamma has a range of meaning that embraces both conditioned phenomena and the unconditioned, Sankhara Dhamma and Sankhara Dhamma, or Sankhara and Nibbana. Applying this to the three characteristics, one sees that the scope of the first two characteristics, anicca and dukkha, is narrower than that of the last, anatta. This is summarized as follows. The characteristics of impermanence and dukkha apply only to conditioned phenomena, sankhara, and to all conditioned phenomena. The characteristic of non-self, however, applies to all things, both the conditioned and the unconditioned. The unconditioned nibbana is devoid of the first two characteristics. In the Pali Canon, the Buddha characterizes the conditioned and the unconditioned in this way. Signs of the conditioned world, Sankhara Lakkhana. 1. Origination is apparent. 2. Disintegration is apparent. 3. Alteration is apparent. Signs of the unconditioned at Sankhara Lakkhana. 1. Origination is not apparent. 2. Disintegration is not apparent. 3. Alteration is not apparent. To sum up, the unconditioned, or nibbana, is beyond impermanence and dukkha, but it is selfless. As for everything else, that is, all formations, they are impermanent, dukkha, and non-self, as this passage from the Vinaya Pitaka confirms. All formations are impermanent, subject to pressure, and non-self. Nibbana and designations are non-self. B. Sankhara of the five aggregates and Sankhara of the three characteristics. There are many examples in the Thai language of a single word having several definitions. Some definitions vary only slightly, while others vary greatly to the point of appearing unrelated. Similarly, in Pali, there are many individual terms that have a wide range of different meanings. Those people who have studied Pali are able to distinguish and understand these different meanings. Even in the case where the word appears several times in a single passage, but with different connotations. Such words include naga. This term can mean a divine serpent, a battle elephant, or an excellent person. Nimitta in the Vinaya, this term refers to a boundary marker, while in relation to meditation it means a mental image. Nikaya, this term refers to a section of the Suttanta Pitaka. In other contexts it means a religious faction. Pachaya, in the Vinaya this term means a basic requisite. For instance, food, while in Dhamma teachings it refers more generally to a cause or support. Consider the following words as found in different Buddhist texts. A person knows the rasa with the tongue, delicious or not. He does not allow desire or repulsion to overwhelm the mind. Such a person guards the indriya of the tongue. The indriya of faith as rasa causes all accompanying qualities to be radiant, like a water purifying gem. In the first passage, rasa means a taste, and indriya refers to the internal sense base. In the latter passage, rasa means function, while indriya refers to a spiritual faculty. A monk should perform yoga to realize the state that is free from yoga. The first yoga means spiritual effort, the development of wisdom. The second yoga refers to the defilements that bind beings to the suffering in the worldly existence. An ordinary person regards the body, feelings, perceptions, volitional formations, sankhara, as consciousness, as self. But these five aggregates cannot be self, because all conditioned phenomena, sankhara, are impermanent, subject to pressure and not self. The first sankhara refers solely to one of the five aggregates, whereas the second sankhara covers all conditioned things in keeping with the three characteristics. The word that needs explaining here is sankhara. The list of examples was given simply to demonstrate the important fact that in Pali there are many cases of the same word having two or more distinct meanings of varying disparity. They can be dissimilar or even contradictory. If one understands this, then one does not consider it strange to find the word sankhara being used in the texts in many different senses, and one learns to distinguish the meaning accordingly. The word sankhara has at least 4 definitions, but there are 2 in particular that need to be understood. These are sankhara as one of the 5 aggregates and sankhara of the 3 characteristics. Because these 2 definitions of sankhara overlap, they can cause confusion. 1. The 5 aggregates, rupa, vedana, sanya, sankhara, vijnana. 2. The 3 characteristics, all sankhara are impermanent, all sankhara are dukkha, and all Dhamma are non-self. Sankhara as the 4th component of the 5 aggregates refers to mental factors that shape the mind as wholesome, unwholesome, or neutral. They are the mental qualities led by intention, cetana, that mold and influence thoughts and consequent physical action. They are the agents behind action, kama, the fashioners of the mind. For example, faith, sada, mindfulness, sati, moral shame, hiri, fear of wrongdoing, otapa, loving kindness, metta, compassion, karuna, wisdom, panya, delusion, moha, greed, lobha, and hatred, dosa. They are mental qualities, nama, dhamma, existing in the mind along with feeling, vedana, perception, sanya, and consciousness, vijnana. Sankhara of the 3 characteristics refers to constructed things, everything that arises from causes and conditioning factors, regardless of material or immaterial, physical or mental, live or innate, internal or external. They are also called Buddhadhamma. Sankhara here includes everything except nibbana. Sankhara of the 5 aggregates has a more limited meaning than sankhara of the 3 characteristics. It refers to one part of sankhara of the 3 characteristics. Sankhara of the 5 aggregates refers to the agents that determine the quality of the mind, or volitional formations. As for sankhara of the 3 characteristics, it refers to compounded things, things constructed by conditioning factors, or simply formations. Because volitional formations are themselves constructed things, they are not excluded from the all-inclusive meaning of Sankhara, of the three characteristics. Using the model of the five aggregates, one can divide conditioned phenomena into mind and matter, and subdivide the mind into four subgroups: feeling, perception, volitional formations, Sankhara, and consciousness. Here, Sankhara is solely a mental component and just one element of four. Sankhara of the three characteristics, however, covers both mind and matter. Therefore, Sankhara of the five aggregates is one kind of Sankhara of the three characteristics. Accordingly, the statements physical form is impermanent, feeling is impermanent, perception is impermanent, volitional formations, Sankhara, are impermanent, and consciousness is impermanent, and all conditioned phenomena, Sankhara, are impermanent or identical in meaning. The texts occasionally use the term Sankhara Kanda for Sankhara of the five aggregates and Sankata Sankhara, or simply Sankhara, for Sankhara of the three characteristics. The reason these two teachings use the same term Sankhara is that they describe conditions with similar meanings having to do with formation.